hiked the 3-mile trail to our campsite on the beach. On our way back, after 3 days near the waves, we're driving through the woods, listening to a podcast that reviews celebrity memoirs. I've never understood the obsession with celebrity pop culture, but it seems as I get older, my friends get more and more enmeshed in the lives of famous people. Is this what it means to be entering your 30s? But I humor my friends' obsession, and it allows us to break from talking, which I desperately need. The review is of Kathie Lee Gifford's first and last memoirs. She's written 6 of them. And it's here in my listening to this discussion of the first and 6th memoirs of a mildly famous rich white woman that I realize how deep my loneliness sits. Like a comfy tunnel to somewhere dug slowly over years to the point of not noticing until suddenly you do, as you're sitting in the car after camping on the beach for 3 days, thinking about how nice of a time you had, how very much not alone you are, and how much fun you had looking at the tide pools on the beach, and how the tide pools reminded you of your childhood summers poking at anemones and watching them recoil around your little stick, and how you kind of feel a kinship with them now because you too recoil when people try to touch you in your soft places. You climbed around on big rocks and you got high on the beach at sunset. What could be better than that? And yet here you are, feeling the deep well. And yet, a group is defined by Oxford Language Dictionary as an assemblage of individuals together to create a collective unit. An individual is also defined as something or someone that cannot be divided. A group can be divided, but an individual supposedly cannot. You cannot take a knife and cut me into 2 people, but you can make me dead. And once I'm dead, I'm no longer an individual. I'm part of a group called the deceased. Or perhaps you can divide me. There's the me that is my body and the me that is watching my body, thinking about my body. There is the me that is my mouth on your mouth and the me that is wondering what our mouths are doing. Body. Any significant accumulation of water on the surface of the earth or another planet. A body is navigable. A body is affected by gravity. Maternal existence, body as planet, as material frame. Ba, bo, noun, slang, adjective, verb. To be familiar, to be both, duality and consequence, inarticulate and variant, and a noise, and an odor. To exist as a boy, as some particular thing, like a ball or a cow or an egg. To be both hollow and solid, like masculinity, like exclamation, to be close with, to be close to be a frame, to exist in relation, to be called something recognizable. It's the main part or principal part of anything. The container contains a body. The container is a body. I think of water and shore. Die, noun, variant, adjective, pronoun. Rare earth, metallic lust, to be not free, double number, made in matching pair, divisible family, rich matter, unproductive, unique. Thy, you, me, belonging to, coloring matter, a solution to the problem of being. Dishes. So, I'm at the kitchen sink, washing dishes. I take note of the blue sponge, saturated, soaking up food bits and stale water and leftover soap, and the stainless steel pot, now stained and my hands withered and wet. His funeral was this morning. I tuned in on Facebook Live. The church was packed with over 200 people. His siblings at the podium. I will miss being the 4 of us, now 3. His father was a pastor. His body went too soon. I arrived to the date an hour later and said, "Sorry I'm late, I was at a funeral." And she agreed to a second date. The water collects at the bottom of the basin. The drain plugged up with all the goop I'm scrubbing off. I mold the sponge around my palm, an extension of me. We circle the edge of the popcorn pot. We circle the crevice of the bottom. Lemon is good to bring back the shine of steel. I squeeze its juice, seeds onto the silver rust and buff. My fingernails dig into the slippery rind. We went climbing for our first date after discussing death over coffee. Her body above mine, her ass an angel. I haven't wanted somebody in months, and here you are. When I got home, a new book of poetry was on my doorstep, and I started reading it before I finished bringing in my groceries. I sat on the floor, my front door wide open, the frozen fruit melting into the paper bag. The water is warm and sudsy. I have touched every centimeter of this pot's surface. Can I say that about my own body? I would like to touch every centimeter of you, and soon I'm learning that life is short. Every centimeter of him, now particles of wind and salt. And the sponge is a dirty thing, but I love its dampness, love that it needs to cry in order to work. And I showed up to the date red-faced, late, puffy-eyed, and honest, and you didn't run, so naturally I wrote a song about you all the drive home, and I think of you now, and him, while I'm squeezing this sponge, this lemon, this life, polishing, shining. Everything is either a funeral or a first date, and sometimes it's both. Touch. I want you to touch me, but not like that. I want to touch you, but maybe I just want to be intimate. I want to touch you, but maybe more like a friend, but to touch a friend that way is weird, right? It's weird, right? So I don't touch you. But then you touch me and I respond in flutters, but I don't touch you back because that would be weird, right? All of this is so weird, right? But the thing I really want to do is just put your face in my hands and feel the edges of your ears and your jawline and look into your eyes without that anxious push to look away, to break contact. I want to see you, not just to look at. I want to feel you, not just simply graze skin against skin. I just want to touch, want, maybe, but no, not that. I just want to touch, just skin, contact, press, are you sure? Just a little pressure, just want to want. So hi everyone. I'm Emma McVeigh. Thank you so much for being here and for coming out tonight. Thank you to Eric for putting this on. Thank you to Peter and Aaron, who are going to have some really fun music coming up later. You just heard a few poems from a collection I'm working on. The working title is called Sing the Divisible Embrace, but it's a big project I've been working on for a while now, and it explores like the concepts of touch and sound and water as guides and teachers through which I'm using as an interrogation of like an exploration of individualism, connection, intimacy, loneliness. I have one more poem for you for this little section, and then I think we're going to do a little Q&A situation.
Yeah.
But as a prep for that, would you mind just taking a few and passing down around? So there's a bag being passed around, and inside of it are a series of instructions that you are welcome to take home and do on your own time. But I have a few in this set this evening that you are welcome to join and do with me as you wish. So if you're one of the lucky ones who happens to hold on to one of the ones I'm about to read, great, you can read along. And if not, you'll just have to listen. So, yeah. Touch Study 1. 1. Find the nearest human body to your body. 2. Ask if you can touch them gently. I'll wait. Three, if they say no, find another body and repeat. But if they say yes, then touch them gently, but firm enough to feel the transfer of warmth between you. Let your bodies linger together for at least a full breath. Notice what happens when your body touches another body. Does something in you sing? Thank them, for those of you who participated. Think about this touch. Think about it for the rest of the day. Thank you for participating, you too. Now look at your hand that you touched this person with. Study it. Close your eyes and put that hand on your heart, your stomach, your forehead, your neck. Touch your body with the lingering touch of someone else. Does it feel different? The same? Does something in you sing? When you get home, put this hand on your chest and hum or sing for at least a full minute while thinking of the person you touched. Let your connection live in the sound of your recall. Let the vibration reverberate within your body and out into the space you occupy. Thank them in the singing, through the singing. Perhaps they will be singing to you too. Once done, what lingers? Write down one word or phrase. After 15 days, return to this word or phrase and use it as a prompt to create from. Perhaps you have forgotten the encounter, it doesn't matter, it still lives in you. Finally, share what you make with another human body, even and especially if it is small. Thanks.
Mechanism for it, we use a spinning table. Anyways, you already had that together, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you didn't give a shit that you were gonna have to read for an hour?
I gave a shit, yeah.
Okay, was it scary, I guess, is the main question.
Yeah, it's scary. I think the most I ever read was 20 minutes, and that was actually at the chapel last summer when we had it was a collaborative music and poetry setup. So it was 20 minutes, but I was also doing it with other people. There were musicians, and so it wasn't just me and a microphone and a nice, polite, quiet audience staring at me.
The attention is hard to get used to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like as soon as you get it, you're like, actually, no. Everyone just turn around.
Yeah, just face the wall.
Yeah. Please absolutely do not stare at me.
Yeah.
I love working with you because you're never really intimidated by any of this shit. It's always fun.
I'm so glad I give off that impression.
Well, your answer is always yes. Your answer is always like, let's roll. One phone call and we're good.
Yeah, I probably should ask a lot more questions than I do, but here we are.
And then for me, see, I love having an environment that lets me just say fuck it, you can do what you want for 15, 20 minutes, right? Does that, I guess what I'm saying is a lot of my writing process has a lot to do with just sharing it. It doesn't really matter the feedback I fucking get, right? Good, bad, happy, I don't really give a shit. I just want to be hey, look at this thing I did, right? So I guess the trip of that is when you're up here, is that changing your thesis right now, or is that changing the writing? Did something just happen in your brain? Do you think that happens when you were reading?
Yeah, I think so. So for context, he's talking about a thesis that the big project I'm working on is that I am in getting my mcveigh, and I'm working. This is all thesis work for. Hopefully, I'll be turning it in forever. I hope I continue working on it after. But yeah, that's the project in question. But yes, it does change. I think the reason it's risky to bring brand new work into a space like this, especially with so much time. There's a big pressure that I'm putting on myself to be let's throw some safe ones in there that people are gonna love or something. But I think I really wanted to have this work here tonight because I know that it changes when I perform it, and there's a total difference between reading something on a page and then hearing it. or reading it along as you're hearing it, or not reading it along and only hearing it, or seeing somebody perform it as opposed to hearing it. Like there's, every time something is engaged with, I think it changes the thing, or you are changed by it as the person who's absorbing it or interacting with it. And so I think it's really helpful for me to hear myself reading it and to see how like an audience reacts or responds, but more importantly, I think just it's important to me to know that a poem can have a life in multiple arenas, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And then once you hear that kind of poem in a different arena, right? Once your work exists in a much more public space, in a space that kind of shakes on its own weight with your weight to it, there is this kind of trip of like maybe if you don't go back and edit these poems based off what you read or whatever, right? Like the idea is that this then energy that you've entered into goes and changes the work almost immediately that you start producing.
Yeah, I think it definitely, if nothing else, it changes the way I think about the work. And the work has its own life, right? Like it's kind of its own like autonomous little being. And so I think for me, when I perform it, it lives, like it's an example of it living. I think especially because like when you write, like you can always continually edit something until like it's never really done, right? It's like you can always keep going back and changing it. And I think when you're performing, there's something really like scary but beautiful about like how this is just what is happening and you can't just like go back and delete and change things. And so I think that the life that it takes on when it does that, it kind of changes my own psyche in terms of like how I approach the work then later. Whether or not it's something I read tonight, it's like it kind of gives me a little bit more permission to like not be as much of a perfectionist about it and like accept that like this is a project here tonight that is like complete, even if it's a part of another thing. Like this is a work that has many lives and many iterations. Yeah, if that makes sense.
And it makes sense too, like as an autonomous being, as a project that's going on, right? You write so close to the bone, right? You're actually talking about your life in a way in which I hide vehemently, you know? So I mean...
Don't?
No, well, I do, and I have to learn how to like be more on and like closer to what you're getting. So I think when I do these things and I'm speaking pretty truthfully, I mean, it really modifies what you're going to write and how your voice, right? Because you're basically talking to all your friends.
Yes, thank you, friends. Yeah, I mean, it is weird to, poetry is such a weird thing because there's always the thing of like, is it fiction, is it nonfiction? It's its own thing. But yeah, I mean, I think what I love about performance is that you do take on like a character of some kind, or at least I do. There's versions of myself or parts of myself that don't get seen as much throughout my daily life that get to come out in a performance setting that can, in the ways that it needs to, can like remove me a little bit or distance me a little bit from the content of what I'm reading if I need to, you know, like there can be a bit of distance, so it's not necessarily always as like vulnerable as like to the point where I just wouldn't come up here if it were that were the case, right? So
yeah, and how do you get that? I mean, through performance, but like, what are the techniques you use for distance? I tend to use absurd. You know, I tend to use a lot of rhythm, a lot of like imagery for no reason. You know what I mean? How do you create distance that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in the writing I create distance through, excuse me, I think I play around a lot with pronouns, like the you, or like using you it feels a lot more intimate, so sometimes changing it from a you to a third person pronoun can be just like a small change that can change the distance to it. It sounds a little bit more narrative rather than like confessional. And I think also using humor and and like satire and being like a little bit extra also is just something I love doing all the time anyway, but can be really helpful as a tool as well. Yeah, that's something I'm actually working to explore right now too, is I think a lot of times when I try to get more distance, I end up being really general and it kind of gets boring. So trying to remember to be specific and specific and detailed while not just like, well, I don't know, maybe it's fine to just like throw your life on the table and just be like, here it is. That's some people's vibe. Sorry, I'm looking for my water cup because I'm scratching.
I thought you were trying to find your words.
Always.
I'm always trying to, in the middle of this, like, where did I leave all my words?
They're right here.
And do you mean specificity in terms of just image or life, or like phonetic? Like, how do you get specific? Is the idea?
I mean, like, yeah, like your word choice or the way that you describe something. Better like imagery, and I think I take where I get in trouble is I will get general and like assume people have the same experiences that I do, which is so not the truth at all. So I think just remembering to stay grounded in like the specific moment that you're talking about, which is unique to you and your life, is something to always remember. And I don't remember the other part of your question.
That's okay. It's not really a question. At this point, we're just hanging out while people watch.
Yeah, you might want to put the mic back up to your mouth.
Put the mic up? Oh, yeah. I mean, do they need to hear me? You're here. You're even under the cool red light. The star's light.
That's right, I'm a star.
I'm not keeping up time at all. How long has this been going? 10 minutes seems enough. Do you feel all right?
I feel all right, yeah.
All right,
We can take a break, right?
We can take a quick break and then the musicians can come up. Do y'all need a break? No, they don't need a break. Do you need a break?
No, I'll just sip on my little water cup.
Do you
My
need more
cup.
water? I mean, I can bring you water. Technically, I'm a host. I should probably bring you things. Right? Like, shouldn't I? Like, I should like give a shit. I'll bring you. Yeah, cool. I can take notes, dude. I'm good at that. All right, so I'm gonna get Emma water and then give it up for Peter, Tracy, and Aaron, Michael Butler. Everyone. I'll go find you water.
It's just back there.
Oh, it's just back there. Thanks for helping me out. It's half the problem. It's fine. It's a big one. Just this. So much water in a bag.
Oh, right,
so many
thank you. You got me 2 cups of
I got you. Well, because one didn't seem enough.
One is not enough. You're right. I can.
So many little cups. I love them. This. Oh, that's been going on for the whole time.
I watch the waves lap onto the concrete shore of Magnuson Park. I watch the water collect and break onto the cement blocks, sinking into the moss, convening into pools in the divots of the concrete. I watch and listen to the droplets break away from the collective body, leaping into the air to land on the hard surface of the exposed tree root I'm sitting near, only to then further break into more droplets, more of one, more of more. Water can always be divided, can always be made into less and less of the whole. Perhaps this is why I love it so much. Never alone, never truly singular, a community of molecular movement. And when we're made, we float inside of bodies before we become bodies ourselves. We pass through canals. Sound also travels this way. Molecular mother, our liquid cells sing into this watershed. We join a group of ourselves in a river out to sea. Divisible blood, collecting, breaking. Body as vessel, as ocean, as trembling map. Talk. I reach for you, grasping for pressure on my fingertips, my tongue. A sound bubbles between us. I wait for the mutual vibration. Frame as filter, water and flesh and blood and gas, we exist within limitations. We are the limitation. Water in terms takes shape of its container. If you took away my frame, would I still exist? Blood and guts and gas without architecture. The barrier defines the identity, like borders or walls, fresh or salt, ocean or lake, deep or shallow, narrow or wide, creek or river, limitless entity. I thought the body was the skin, but it's what's contained within the borders that make the definition. Human bodies are only 60 to 70% water. Skin, shoreline. What kind of body? For what purpose this body? White body, brown body, fat body, thin body, young body, aging body, black body, sacred body, troublesome body, disposable body, precious body, useful body, innocent body, delinquent body, pretty body, frightening body. What borders make these definitions? Shallow or deep, wide or narrow, frozen or flowing. Language. The system consists of words, sounds, and gestures. The body is a system, make, sound, and gesture. The body is a lang, noun, adjective, rope, laid down, spatial and stretching, a horizon line of wire, long and patented, referring to the material, to grow intransitive, to go on a journey, to strand, gutter, channel, all twisting in the same direction. The body is a collection of bones and meat. Language is a collection of sounds and gestures. Water is a collection of hydrogen and oxygen. I wait at the shore for waves to bring me blessings of communication. Uj. Did you mean point of orbit, a place of confinement for birds, animals, or in barbarous times, human beings? To pledge, here is my offer, something of value, deposited to perform a forfeiture, a pipe, a magician, the objective possibility, the boy, the leaf of a book, the empty, to write on, to confine to consume. Did you mean self-made? Self-governance, self-control, freedom to speak, live, build, love, buy, create, freedom to become what you always imagined, lonely, by whatever means the individual in question deems necessary, important. To make whole, we make ourselves self-made ourselves. We are I am important because I am self-made, made myself self-whole, inside, cannot be divided, only into deadness, only into individual portions. Eat me, I made it myself. Away went, fully collecting, making something scrumptious to be consumed by consuming. Learn to laugh at yourself, how to make yourself, myself, the self, myself, you're myself, self. Noise. Sonic disorder, the unwanted auditory. I carve a line of interference, wrong sound, wrong relative. N, conjunctive particle. Rock, roll, mix, match, rhythm, blues. Between contexts, we have established nouns in commercial phrases. And then, no, not preceding, a simple tense, a group of words, subjective number, clause subordinate. When an environment is continually above 85 to 90 decibels, it is considered dangerous for one's health. Pollution, we too get positioned. O, prefix. Indicating descent. 0, number significant. O, as in nothing, as in family, an embrace. XO, dear XO. To name means to be called. I speak your name. We use voices to bring you into being. If my body makes the wrong sound in the wrong place, have I now become something unwanted? I, pronoun. Generally speaking, how do you refer to a subject generally? Referring to agreement, a subject which is me, which is premodified, which is an object, which is ego, ergo, the paradigm. First person first, America first. Think therefore, am, who is, who. Emphatic, objective, identical to myself. Inharmonious feedback. Whispering is only 30 decibels. Can I shush you back to health? S, verb. A letter that wants to be. Colloquial transitive, chiefly non-perfect. Names at the disposal, to have without complement, to exist, indeed, to slither into God. Knave and nausea, sickening ocean swell, unwanted water, unwanted sensation. What sounds make you bend at the waist and heave? Eve. noun. Denoting one of a series, part of a figure, like name, like sound, a note, a ship, a sequence, ecstatic, abbreviate me into disturbance. A single person. A sing, sigh, single person. A son, a song, as, a sign, sing, sign, single so, on, sing, aon, lep, leap, her, a sing, sing, sigh, per, to is, to to per is, sun, on, n, sing, entity, tent, it, what is it? Tie, long, low, on, I belong, long, long, sing, low, to be or on, to be long or not to sing, purse, on, song, a be long, song, sing, son, don't be gone, long, sing, song, single e, son, a song, person, belong, inside, to be, to sing. Rivers, touch, roads, touch, rivers, touch, roads, touch, towns, touch, skin, touch, rivers, touch, roads, touch, skin, touch, roads, touch, pavement, touch, concrete, touch, blood, touch, rivers, touch, veins, touch, roads, touch, rivers, touch, mountains, touch, roads, touch, rubber, touch, city, touch, rivers, touch, skin, touch, roads, touch, rivers, touch, neighborhoods, touch, roads, touch, rivers, touch, veins, touch, bloods, touch, cells, touch, skin, touch, bruises, touch, hair, touch, rivers, touch, wet, touch, rivers, touch, soil, touch, rivers, touch, hands, touch, roads, touch, hands, touch, fingers, touch, veins, touch, roads, touch, wheels, touch, rivers, touch, skin, touch, rivers, touch. Song piece number 4568. Materials needed: a body of water, a container, an individual. 1. Find the nearest body of water. 2. Submerge yourself. Walk into the water. Soak yourself in its softness, its coldness. Let goosebumps grow on your skin, deep enough for your entire face to be submerged. 3. Open your mouth. Thank you for reading along, that's cool. Feel free to read along with me. 4. Sing. Feel the sound leave your mouth. Feel how the bubbles of your voice cling to your skin as they crawl to the water's surface. Watch the bubbles carry the sound of your voice up to the atmosphere. Feel their round edges pull at your lips and tickle your teeth. Listen. Hear the way the water wraps around your voice, the way it interrupts a smooth note. What direction does your voice go when seeking a listener? Continue singing. Water absorbs and carries sound. Water as collaborator, as creative partner. Let it carry what it needs to. Does the water sing back? Listen with your skin. Where are the hairs on your epidermis? On what shore does your voice land? With what anchor? What beaching? 9. Emerge. Slowly, with eyes closed or in darkness. 10. Your voice became the water, became the container in which you were held, became the water inside you. Take the remnants of this envelopment to your jar. Squeeze the water from your hair, your face, your eyebrows, your lips into the jar. Spit into the jar. Cover the opening with your mouth to mimic the movement you just concluded. The water carries molecules of your voice. 12. Place the jar near a window or a place where light can pass through it. 13. After a day or two, take that water and drink it. Mix it into your morning tea, coffee, smoothie. Drink it and notice how it feels to consume your own voice. 14. Does your body sing back? That the droplet cannot be removed from the river, the lake, the cloudy sky. That the droplet sinks into the ground and becomes water for the roots of trees and ferns thousands of years old. That the singular droplet becomes further divided into more parts, the hydrogen removed from the oxygen and the oxygen going back into the air and into my lungs and out through the condensation cloud of breath on this cold March afternoon. That the condensation of wetness in that cloud of breath separates and goes back into the river on whose bank I now kneel as in prayer, as in retrieval of selfhood and wholeness. That the rocks dig into my skin as I write this. That the sun is warm on the top of my head while the cold air shivers my limbs. That I can hear it all, the rushing rapid, the lapping wave, the cricket, the heartbeat, the raindrop. That I can kneel here and recall a memory of sound that still lives in this water, this sand, this body. That the memory is one of togetherness and laughter. That there are memories carried in this landscape and in my body that were formed long before I was. That I can feel it, the ache in my ankle, the drip of snot on the edge of my nose, the sense of homeness in this moment. That when I kiss my fingertips and bring them to the water's edge, the edge will kiss me back.